On the day they met, he told her he was going to marry her someday.
She wasn't convinced that was the case right away. But as they got to know each other and realized that they shared a lot of the same hopes and dreams for their lives, they came together and became what later was known, once his political career started, as the Pat and Dick team. They spent 53 years together.
It began at a community theater audition in Whittier, California in 1938. A young lawyer, Richard Nixon, was quite smitten by the lively schoolteacher, Pat Ryan. He courted her with dogged persistence and a series of romantic letters.
Do you remember that funny guy who asked you to go to a 20:30 ladies' night just about 2 years ago?
Some of that correspondence is going on display at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library as part of an exhibit commemorating the life of Pat Nixon.
Richard's letters are ardent, poetic even in points, very demonstrative in terms of how he feels about Pat.
After 2 years of courtship and dozens of letters back and forth, they finally got married.
Her letters are a little lighter in tone, but clearly very affectionate. One of my favorite lines from one of the letters is when she says, "If you get done early, come by and I'll burn a hamburger for you."
Nixon calls his wife to be his Irish gypsy and my dearest heart. And he refers to himself in the third person.
And when the winds blow and the rains fall and the sun shines through the clouds, as it is now, he still resolves, as he did then, that nothing so fine ever happened to him or anyone else as falling in love with thee, my dearest heart. Love, Dick.
Nixon was raised in the Quaker tradition, and in some of the letters he uses familiar Quaker terms like thee and thine to refer to his future bride.
It's not, as I understand it, language that you would use outside of the home or outside of a close personal relationship, and I think that expresses the sense of intimacy and the closeness he felt for her.
The same man who sounded so gruff and insensitive on the White House tapes penned these words. Pat Ryan fell for him and stood by him throughout the ups and downs of his political career. Visitors to the Presidential Library say they're surprised to see this side of Nixon, but in some ways these ardent letters are in keeping with the public perceptions about a man who resigned from the presidency because of the Watergate scandal.
I think he's a pretty tenacious person. It doesn't surprise me a bit.
Of course, Nixon probably never expected anyone but Pat, maybe his children, who currently own the collection, to read these sweet letters, just as he never expected the Watergate tapes to be heard by the public. Raquel Maria Dillon, The Associated Press, Yorba Linda, California.